Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Hawksnest here, back with another Call of Duty mobile video. And in today's video, we'll actually be doing episode 2 of the season 3 best gun series, where we basically compare guns and decide which of the two are better. And then also in the video, I give you guys tips on how to actually properly use the weapon, like building your loadout, what you should aim for, what you should be doing with the weapon, how you should be playing with it, stuff like that, along with the actual stats and information of the weapons. If at any point you guys enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like and also subscribe if you guys want to see more content like that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the video. In today's episode, we'll be comparing the Type 25, and I do want to mention that all of these stats will be on the normal Type 25, not the Type 25s with the perks, so like this one for example. I will be having a video very soon coming out on this Type 25 specifically because it's very interesting. But yeah, so the first one we'll be comparing is the Type 25. We will be comparing the Type 25 to the AK117, which is also an assault rifle just like the Type 25. And we will also be comparing the AKS-74u. This is actually an SMG, it's not an assault rifle, although it is basically a hybrid of a assault rifle and a SMG, so we will be looking at it because it is very, very similar to both the Type 25 and the AK117. For the AKS, you actually get the free-to-play version of the gun at level 8. The AK117 you get at level 60, and the Type 25 you get at level 104. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the weapon's recoils. Alright, so as you can see on your screen right now, you're looking at the recoil of the Type 25, AK117, and the AKS. Just to note, the gray recoil in the back is the recoil of the weapons without a grip, and then the white recoil in the front is the recoil with a grip. Just so you can have a perspective of how the grip actually changes the recoil patterns. So some things I do want to point out is that the AKS probably has some of the worst horizontal recoil, especially without a grip. The gun can go side to side like crazy. If you do have a grip on it though, it becomes much more manageable. I also do want to say that most of these recoils are pretty similar. The Type 25 honestly probably has the least amount of horizontal recoil in the first few shots. I also want to mention that horizontal recoil, which is recoil that goes side to side, is nearly impossible to control, whereas the vertical recoil is very simple to control. You just have to pull down. That is one of the biggest flaws of the AKS-74u, is that it kicks side to side quite a bit. The AK-117 and Type 25 definitely do kick side to side a little bit, but not nearly as bad as the AKS. In my personal opinion, it is a little bit easier to control the AK-117 than the Type 25, but I would say that both of them do handle pretty well. And if we look at the recoil actually grouped up, so we take a couple different patterns and group them up, we get basically these same results. The AK-117 has low recoil and doesn't go side to side a ton, and the Type 25 is pretty similar. The Type 25 starts to kick side to side if you start shooting a lot, but the first few shots definitely seem pretty stable. And then the AKS kind of goes all over the place, so it's definitely not something you want to be using at very long ranges. And this is because the farther away you get from your opponent, the harder it is to actually control your recoil. So if a gun has bad recoil, it will be amplified at range. So now we have a good idea of how the recoil is on the weapon, so let's go ahead and look at some of these statistics. First up is the fire rate. The fire rate of all three weapons are very similar and all extremely fast. The Type 25 is the fastest, and then the AK-117 and the AKS are basically the exact same. The AK-117 is a tad bit faster than the AKS, but it's honestly not by that much. But once again, all three of these weapons do shoot extremely fast, with the Type 25 being the fastest. Next up is the headshot multiplier. We will be looking at damage very soon, but before we do that, I just want to let you guys know what the headshot multipliers are. The headshot multiplier for the Type 25 is actually very unique. It is 1.1. Most ARs are normally 1.2, but the Type 25 is 1.1 just like the SMGs, and obviously the AKS is a SMG, and it also has 1.1 as its headshot multiplier. All of these weapons have the same body multipliers, so basically you'll do the same damage whether or not you're shooting the toes, the hands, the legs, the arms, the body, the chest. No matter what, the damage will be the exact same in the body, unless you're hitting the head, and that multiplier will be whatever you see on your screen right now. So now let's go ahead and look at the damage and the ranges of the weapons. Okay, so now what you're looking at is a graphic that shows the range and the damage of each weapon. Just to clarify how damage works is a player has 100 HP. If you deal over 100 HP, the player will be dead. Most of the fights you take are against someone that is 100 HP, just because in this game you regen very easily. You don't have to med up or anything, you just wait a few seconds and your health regens. So typically after a fight, someone will regen and then they will take another fight when they're full HP. So if we look at the Type 25, what we can see is that the damage is 25 up to 9 meters, which means that it'll take 4 shots to actually kill somebody. And the AK117 and AKS deal 24 damage up to 13 meters. So you can tell the range of this damage is a little bit longer than the Type 25, but because it is 24 damage, that means it will take 5 shots to kill. So it takes less shots to kill and shoots faster, which means that the time to kill will be faster. I'm going to give you guys a second just to absorb this data. We will be switching over to time to kill, and what time to kill is basically how many milliseconds it takes to kill somebody. And the lower the number, obviously the faster it is to actually kill someone. So when you look at these numbers that are coming very soon, just know that the lower the number, the better. Okay, so now we're looking at the time to kill. And as you can tell, like I was saying, up close, the Type 25 is going to kill extremely fast at 228 milliseconds. And the AK117 and AKS are a little bit slower at 313 and 318 milliseconds. The AK117 and the AKS do kill fast up close, but the Type 25 kills very, very fast. And then you can see the time to kills as they scale all the way down at mid-range and all that. But for long range, the gun that kills the fastest is once again the Type 25 at 381 milliseconds. And the slowest is the AKS, and the recoil on the AKS is also pretty bad for long range, like I was saying before. So you don't want to be using the AKS at extremely long ranges, which makes sense as it's an SMG. It will work at this range, but most of the time you will be beat by players that have LMGs or ARs or definitely snipers. I also want to say that, as you can tell, the map in the background is crossfire. You can kind of see the distances and everything just to get an idea of how these distances actually work. And the color goes from green, which is close range, to red, which is maximum range. So now we're going to go ahead and switch over to another graphic. And basically what this is time to kills with headshots. Okay, so now what we're looking at is the time to kill if you are hitting headshots. Just so you understand how this works, let's go ahead and focus in on one number. So if you go to the Type 25 and you look at the 304 that's orange, let's go ahead and look at that for a second. Basically what that number means is that from 22 to 26 meters, if you hit someone in the head 3 times, you can kill them faster than if you just shoot them in the body. And you can tell it's 3 times because it's orange, and if you look on the top right, I show what color coordinates to how many headshots are needed. So now if we look at the AK117 and we look at the blue 313, which is on the far right, basically what that's saying is anywhere above 27 meters, it will take 5 headshots to kill them faster. So typically the AK117 takes 6 shots to kill at 27 meters and above, but you can actually kill them in 5 shots if you hit 5 headshots. The reason I made this one blue is because this is nearly impossible, because at long range it's hard to hit headshots as is, and hitting 5 of them is going to be nearly impossible, so I don't recommend going for headshots. But if you look at the AK117's close range, you can actually hit 1 headshot and reduce your time to kill significantly, from 313 all the way down to 235 milliseconds. Which actually makes it very, very similar to the Type 25. So what this means basically is close range, if you can hit a headshot, you're going to be killing people a lot faster. But close range, sometimes it's hard to hit headshots because you could be really close to someone and it's just hard to aim for a certain part of the body. You're just basically taking whatever shots you can get. So I actually wouldn't even recommend going for close range fights with the AK117 because this gun is meant for a little bit more mid-range and long-range fights. But if you do take a close range fight, hitting 1 headshot will be beneficial. And then at 14 to 21 meters, you can reduce your time to kill by hitting 3 headshots, which is pretty difficult. But if you do get really good with the recoil of the AK117, you can kill people a lot faster. And then with the AKS-74u, you guys basically understand how this works. But at this point, as you can tell, you can actually reduce your time to kill a lot by hitting headshots at all ranges except for 14 to 21 meters. So hopefully this kind of helped you understand when you should be hitting headshots and when you shouldn't be hitting headshots. I would actually recommend never going for headshots with the Type 25 because it has a very low headshot multiplier and will almost never help you, except for obviously 22 to 26 meters, and even then you'd need 3 headshots. I would mostly recommend aiming for the groin area, the groin or the stomach. That way you can always hit your shots and you'll never really go off target. So now let's go ahead and look at what is the fastest. So once again, from 0 to 21 meters, the fastest time to kill is the Type 25. And then for just a moment at 22 to 26 meters, the AK117 is actually the fastest by a decent amount. And then when you get to the 27 meters and above range, the Type 25 becomes the fastest again. But the recoil on the AK117 is a little bit better, and as you can tell, the time to kills of the Type 25 and AK117 are actually very similar. So honestly, at this range, I would give the advantage to the AK117, although once again, they are very close. So now one more time, we're just going to go ahead and look at the time to kills. Take this in for a second. I would especially look at the AKS-74u, because what we're about to look at is the time to kill of the AKS with a long barrel. Okay, so now what you're looking at is the AKS with a long barrel, and as you can tell, the range does get a little bit nicer, but at very long ranges, the time to kill is still the exact same. All the time to kills will be the exact same. It's just that the distances of these ranges will be increased by a little bit. So that is the AKS with a long barrel. I do recommend it. I do also want to mention that the suppressor reduces the range of all of these weapons. The suppressor is also very buggy, so I wouldn't recommend using it. But if you really do like the suppressor on the AKS, if you want to be suppressed and be sneaky, if you put a long barrel on it and a suppressor, all the range effects will actually go away. So you won't actually gain anything, you won't lose anything. It'll be just like a normal AKS, except for your shots will be suppressed and you won't pop up on the minimap. Your shots won't pop up on the minimap, that is. Okay, so now at this point, you're probably saying, hey, Type 25 is the best, and I would actually agree with you, but there is a couple more things that do kind of give a advantage to the AK117 and the AKS. So let's go ahead and look at these last few statistics that do play a pretty important role in deciding which weapon you should choose. Next up is the ADS comparison, and this is basically how long it takes your gun to scope in, and as you can tell, the AK117 and Type 25 I recorded as the same, but the AKS is a little bit quicker, so it will just scope in a little bit faster, which is very good if you're running around and just being a more aggressive player. It really depends on your playstyle though. If you're really aggressive and just like running up on people, then this will be very beneficial to have a quicker ADS time. But if you're a little bit smarter playing around corners and holding angles, it doesn't matter that much, which is something you'll do with the AK117 a lot more often. Next up is the magazine comparison. The Type 25 and AK117 both have magazine sizes of 30 and 38 with an extended mag, but the AKS is actually default 36 and you can get it up to 44 with a extended mag. And the AK117 has a very slow reload speed, Type 25 has a pretty good reload speed, and the AK117 and AKS have bad reload speeds, and then the Type 25 has a good reload speed. The AK117 I would definitely recommend a fast mag, and the Type 25 I would definitely recommend a extended mag. And the AKS, I would recommend either a fast mag or just no mag attachment at all. Kind of up to you. The reload speed is slow, but it's not super slow, so I think you'd be fine with not having a magazine attachment. And also it has 36 rounds, so you can definitely save that slot for a different attachment. It's also worth noting that the AKS has a lot worse material penetration than the AK117 and the Type 25. I cover this a lot more in depth in my video where I talk about material penetration and the FMJ attachment. If you guys actually want to see numbers and all that, I would go refer to that video, which will be linked down below. Alright, and our last specific statistic comparison, which is actually very important, is the mobility or the speed. So what you're looking at right now is the running speed of each weapon. The AK117 is the slowest at 6 meters per second, Type 25 is the next fastest at 6.2 meters per second, and then the AKS is by far the fastest at 6.57 meters per second. This will also affect your strafing speed, which is basically when you scope at someone and you're moving side to side. You'll be a lot faster with the AKS and the Type 25 than the AK117. And this makes mid to long range engagements a little bit better because when you're moving side to side, you're harder to hit. Which is one of the benefits of the AKS overall, is if you're playing a little bit more aggressive and you're taking mid-range fights and all that, you're just going to be a lot harder to hit. You're just going to be a lot more of a nuisance if you're using the AKS. And the Type 25 kind of falls in the middle of everything. It has really good range, it has good mobility, and that's why honestly it's the most popular weapon, is because it's just very versatile and just good at everything, to be honest. And the AK117 is a lot like that as well, except it leans a little bit more on the long range side than the close range side. It's just better for longer range engagements. And the AKS is just like a more close range Type 25 with some characteristics of the AK117. Like having basically the exact same fire rate and damages. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at some quick classes. This is the Type 25 class that I rock. Honestly, I use the Type 25 all the time. I've been using it every single season, so I've gotten pretty decent with it. And this is the class that I just like to rock to reduce recoil, scope in faster, and just make sure I have those extra bullets to finish off kills. In terms of perks, those 3 perks are pretty much what I always use, so it's pretty standard. I think Hardened is very useful, especially since the Type 25 has a decent amount of recoil. Reducing aim punch or flinch when you're getting shot will be really helpful with the Hardened perk, or Toughness, sorry. In terms of the AK117, this is the class I normally use. In terms of attachments, it's like the same as that Type 25, except for I use a stock typically. Just for what I was saying before, you want to be able to strafe side to side a little bit more, just so you're harder to hit at longer ranges. And then, since you're taking longer range fights typically with the AK-117, toughness is very important. And for the red perk, really you can use whatever you want. It's up to you. I personally use Agile. In terms of the AKS-74u, there's a couple options you can actually go for. If you want to use this thing at a little bit longer ranges, I would recommend having a sight on it, a long barrel, stock, and a foregrip. This will overall just make your mid-range engagements a lot easier because you'll be number one, harder to hit with the stock, and number two, hitting a lot more shots with the accuracy of the foregrip and sight. And then the long barrel will just help you have a little bit more range. In terms of a more aggressive close range setup, this is what I would have. If you're like being really aggressive, obviously you have to be able to reload really quickly on the fly, so a fast mag is good. A foregrip is just in general good with it. It's not super necessary if you're playing a little bit closer range because you don't need as much accuracy when you're actually playing close range, but it is good to have if you do start taking some longer range fights. And then a quick draw will help you scope in a little bit faster, and then not having a sight will also help you scope in a little bit faster. And the iron sights on the AKS are very good. And then for my perks, just pretty standard perks. But yeah, so in my final opinion, I would say the Type25 is the winner of the most versatile weapon. It really depends on your playstyle though. If you want to go for something more long range, I would say AK117. If you want to go for something very versatile where you can really win any fight in any situation, or at least have the chance to, I would say the Type25. And if you want to play a little bit more aggressive, I would say the AKS-74u. Those are the three best full auto weapons in my opinion in terms of those three classes. The next one would be the S36. Like if you really want to camp, I would say S36. If you want to not camp but play long range, AK117. If you want to have versatility with any situation, I would say the Type25. And then if you want to play a lot more aggressive, I would say the AKS. And then if you want to play really aggressive, I would say the MSMC. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to drop a like and a sub down below if you did. And before I go, I want to give a huge shout out to our channel members, especially our mega fans and above, which are Fort Chug Jug as a mega fan, Adobe Gaming as a mega fan, MGC Gaming as an elite fan, PUBG Master 327 as a mega fan, and then CBK Esports and Red Zero as ultimate fans. If you guys want to see how to join the channel and support me and get a lot of cool benefits, you can see how to on your screen right now. And with that being said, I will see you guys later. Peace.